Leo tuko na mgeni nasemanga Waswahili wanasema mgeni bab kubwa, sisi tunaita kwa Kiingereza big shot, ambaye atatuambia mambo ya siasa inakuaje, ili help us unlock the politics as it is in this country. In Kenya inamaanisha kwamba every day that goes things get even more complicated. When you think it should get simpler, it gets worse. Titus Mushemi anasema yuko Konza City. Asante sana. Tuko na mgeni wetu Professor Edward Kisiangani. Atatuambia ni mwalimu wa falsafa ya politics ama kisiasa. Atatuambia ni nini inaendelea Kenya hii. Juzi nimeona gazeti ya Standard imetuletea lineup ya 2020. Atatuambia who is the bit. Unajua zile teams zinatengeneza jana Liverpool na Man U. Nasikia mlinyoroshana watu wa Man U leo mko na kiburi. Atatuambia pia kwa ulingo wa kisiasa nani ni Man U gani ni Liverpool. Karibu sana Daktari Kisiangani. Good to see you.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Welcome to the tackle.
Yes.
Hapa ndio tunapanganga kazi pole pole.
Wewe ni Man U.
Mimi nilisema sitaki stress ya football. Mimi siwezi kwanza usingize kwa
mimi ni Chelsea.
Sasa yes. Kwa sababu ya ngozi nikosa kulala.
The league has noticed because Chelsea is not winning. Yes.
So you are blue.
Yeah, I'm blue. And this room is blue.
Yes, it's blue somehow, you know, coincidentally.
Yeah.
Is it out of coincidence? It's blue. So I think you're home now.
It is not good. It's good. It is not red.
Yeah, some shades of red. Good to see you.
Thanks a lot.
So watu wa Man U unawaambia aje? Leo maamuka na kiburi.
Waje maringo. Wana maringo sana. Hata hawachezi poa. Lakini wana maringo sana. Wanahitaji discipline.
Discipline.
Jana walifunga goli ya hiyo ya Rashford ilikuwa offside. Yeah.
So walikulia ball ya offside ndio maana walitupigia kifua leo.
Yes, walikulia offside.
Tunasema sasa
huwa anabebwa.
Hata nyinyi Chelsea mwenye pia mko na nafikia mnakwanga civilized kidogo, lakini kiburi iko pia kidogo.
Hapana, tunataka kufuta kazi Lambert. Hajui. Alikuwa mchezaji mzuri lakini boli hajui kucoach. Sasa tutatafuta coach mwingine na tutadiscipline watu huko.
Yeah, lakini wa Kenya mnapenda football sana zaidi, lakini Kenya hii football yenyewe it's on its knees. What happens with local football?
Uongozi mbaya. Kuna siasa nyingi sana katika michezo yote, basketball, rugby. Uongozi ni mbaya sana. Nadhani uongozi ambao ni mbaya kutoka wa wanasiasa wakubwa huo wa siasa umeathiri sana mchezo pia.
So mpaka yani kuna siasa mpaka kwa football.
Kwa football kuna kucheza, kuna youth programs mzuri. Hatuna mpango, pesa ni kukulwa tu. Ni kama za Kemsa. Tunakulwa tu. Alafu inaisha hivi.
Scandal kila mahali. There's a scandal all over.
Yes.
Very good to see you. Tunaingia kwa ulingo wa kisiasa. Tuambie pia mchezo ni vipi pale.
There before a lot of security people have been killed in that place. Citizens have been killed. But you know, that valley has a lot of resources. It has water almost throughout the year. And the ecosystem there is very attractive. So I think, but we need to take a decision. Why would people kill each other? Even if there are resources, surely we can sit down and agree on how to use those resources. It's primitive for people to wake up with guns and kill each other. Somebody must be doing this kind of thing. And how long can the state take to fix the problem? The state is supposed to help us to fix our security. You know, it is a right. The Constitution says the state must protect citizens. So I don't feel good when I see that our security people are being murdered, citizens are being murdered, and the state keeps promising hard action. You hear, Gerard wanasema watapiga watu, lakini hawa watu watapigwa lini? Miaka nyingi. So Kapedo is a tragedy in our midst. It shouldn't be condoned, and I think the country must all cry, ask the state to fix the problem. And it shouldn't go on.
So you believe the problem there is as a resource conflict? Because there are people who have argued that it's also part of political incitement by the local leaders. So you somehow believe that the problem that we have in Kapedo is more of a resource conflict than political?
Even the political part of it is related to resources. So if you can have your supporters access resources and supporters of your opponents don't access the same resources, that is the point. You know, politicians don't go where there are no resources. These guys, even when they are asleep, wananusa kama kuna kitu kizuri. So they are always looking for where are the resources. This water. If Gerard, you're my supporter, and I ask you, you see, access resources in Kapedo, but the supporters of my opponents are locked out. there will be conflict. So first of all, we must deal with the resource issue in Kapedo, and then see why the political class, political combatants are using the resource problem there to fuel conflict. And then we shall deal with the problem. So it's not good. It's a bad thing. It's a tragedy. Everybody must come out and cry over Kapedo.
And it is said that actually these are things that are happening in the 21st century in a nation that's now maybe trying to move away. That is too archaic and too primitive. But again, I argue, sir, and I could be wrong.
Yes.
Why is it that we have all these problems only in places where we have an abundance of poor people, where resources are strained, where there's no investment in schools, there's no investment in public resources? If we could civilize this place, do you think we'd still be fighting over valleys and cows?
I think that you have exactly stated the problem. You have a lot of resources, but these resources don't create an atmosphere that people can exploit their talents and convert themselves into a modern state. So who benefits from these resources and for what reasons? So I think one of the things that the state should do is to open up that area to modern communication, roads, provision of clean water for everybody in that region, build schools, but also secure all these establishments so that our people are safe. So the state must provide security, but must also guide the area on how to use those resources. I think there are so many parts of this country which have been forgotten, they have been ignored, nobody cares about them. And there is a direct connection between areas which have been ignored and overlooked by the state and insecurity. But the areas which have been opened up, they're different. So I think you are right. Kapedo needs to be opened up to modern communication. It needs to be opened up, open good roads, good colleges, and our children should not be going to look after cattle. They must go to school. But if the option is only to look after cattle or raid their neighbors in order to benefit certain things, by the way, Gerard, do you know something? There is this interesting thing. At one time when there was an outbreak, the last time we had a confrontation in Kapedo, that region, we were told that there are some members of the political class could be using these guys who are not going to school, the young Morans, to raid the neighborhoods, get cattle, and some of that cattle at one time we were told would find its way on our tables in Nairobi. Yeah. So who is benefiting this? And is it possible that the state does not know who is doing this? I think it's important to call out those who are promoting conflict in Kapedo, and it's not enough for the authorities to keep promising action. We have the NIS, the National Intelligence Service, we have the police, we have the military. I don't think the state has no capacity to identify the cause of the conflict.
So you feel they have not really paid attention, but they know where the problem is?
I think, who else can know the problem apart from the state? That is the duty of the state to know.
The government.
The government must know where the problem is, and it should be fixed very quickly, once and for all. Our people cannot live in fear like that, and then we keep rejoicing. One part of Kenya which is bleeding, it means that the entire country is bleeding. We need to fix it.
All right. Now, let's go to the schools, because it looks like we're also breeding some bandits back in school. Yesterday, Jesamis Boys High School was closed indefinitely after students went on a rampage. Wameenda wamebomoa shule, wamebomoa maofisi. Chanzo sijui ni nini. Nimeona pia I think Kimilili Secondary, there's also a problem there. These guys just opened school the other day.
Yes,
they are already running on a rampage.
Yes.
What do you think is going on in our schools?
I don't think it's probably the systemic failure. Maybe the kids have certain grievances which nobody is listening to. Maybe people could be using the kids to do certain things. By the way, Chisam's High School was an elite school. The first thing you must ask, the frustrations that people have around here, is why has this school come down to the lowest level? By the way, I'm an alumnus of Chesam's High School.
Oh, interesting.
I went to school there.
Mm-hmm. Were you guys rampaging like that in your time?
If we rampage it like that, we would not have professors from Chesamis. We would not have Smokini Wanjala, the judge from Chesamis. He was my classmate in Chesamis. We would not have Ken Lusaka, the speaker. But the school has deteriorated. That's a fact. It has deteriorated in terms of academic standards, in terms of facilities. I think the easiest way is to blame students. But we need also, as we blame students, nobody can condone the destruction of property, Gerard. But also the management, the board of management of the school, they must come down and fix the problem of the school. Is it the democracy? Is it the facilities in the school? Is it interference from outside? They must answer to the public. That's a public school. We don't know. We heard about it. It's a tragedy that property was destroyed and some students were injured. Security officers could have been injured also. It is unacceptable.
So tuwanyoroshe kiboko ama rifanye counseling?
Hawa watoto kurudisha kiboko hakusaidii. Kwanza wazazi wanapamba watoto sana. Wanaona kama watoto ni maandazi ya kukula. Wanashika watoto hivi. At least kofi moja inasaidia. Hawa watoto wasije wakichoma shule alafu wanakuja nyumbani mnawapatia chapati.
Kofi moja ama 2?
3. Wewe Gerard, mtoto anachoma shule kama cha service, alafu anakuja nyumbani wewe unamwambia enda bathroom uoke maji ya moto. Is that what you want? No, we should tell them to style up, because whatever the grievances the students have can't justify the destruction of property.
We must discipline them.
The kids must be disciplined. Maybe they are taken to committee for a few days and they given some hard labor for 5 days. These kids must not do that. But also parents, adults, teachers, we have a duty to identify the problem. Teachers are trained to know where the problems come from. It could be guiding and counseling. It could be frustrations, but how do we manage stress? How do we manage frustrations among kids? This is a very critical thing. We had the reason the kids actually, that's what we are hearing, but that is the tip of the iceberg. That probably the kids were unhappy because the entertainment period had been moved from evening to 10 o'clock. Then we were told probably that is the reason why. So they didn't want to start entertainment when it is daytime. That is frivolous. I think there must be serious problems.
Lakini watu wanataka kusoma wanaenda dance. Do they go to school to read or they go to entertain themselves?
The kids must dance. First of all, we danced. Are we useless? We danced. We held girls. Girls held us. But we organized. Actually, we were dancing during the day, and it was good. But then you shouldn't ban the dancing. These kids will not even know how to court girls. They will not know how to look after husbands and wives, because they are used to. They are being told a girl is mysterious, a boy is mysterious. Dancing is okay, but these kids should
not cause chaos.
No, they should not. They should not destroy property.
All right. Let's not even, before we even leave Western region, let's talk about the politics in Western region. There is something we call the elusive Luya unity. I mean, yes. You guys have been trying to unify for the longest time ever, for centuries and centuries of time. You've always been talking about Luya unity. That seems so elusive. Every time we think we're going to achieve a Luya unity, there seems to be another faction that comes up. Is it a democracy, or is it just that you guys can never be together? We're even seeing at this point, for the longest time, Raila or Mudavadi was thinking about taking a shot at the presidency, and he has just remained as a threat, like ila kutisha kwamba ndaomba hii kitu mwisho anakula kona. Raila has continued to have a lot of dominance in Western Kenya, surprisingly, that Luya somehow find some level of convergence where Raila Odinga is. What is it with Luya politics, and what is the reason that you guys never sit in one table?
Gerard, you missed the point.
What's the point?
This is our republic. When you tell me Luya unity, unite against who? You want us to unite against Kalenjins? You want us to unite against Kikuyu? A unity which brings together community against other communities. Our unity should be the republic's unity. It's a Kenyan unity. We should unite about interests, not about communities. In fact, it makes me sick. By the way, sometimes I feel news-settled when I hear about that. I feel like vomiting. I won't vomit in this studio, but I'll tell you something. We cannot unite against our citizens, our other citizens. We unite around the fight against poverty. We want to unite against hopelessness. We want to unite about creating wealth. About education. These are the issues. But now, when people talk about uniting, they say we want to have our own. recently some politicians were pursuing that agenda that now it's a time for member from the community to become president. I don't think we want to organize our politics around ethnicity. You could have a fool. I'm not saying about that anybody is a fool there, but I'm saying you could have your own member of the community who is really foolish and cannot become a president. If you must choose somebody from your community, they must have the qualities of uniting the whole country, not the community. So this elusive Luya unity is a hoax. It doesn't exist.
So what do they keep us?
We don't need it. Let me tell you, Gerard, we don't need this unity. If Musalia Mudavadi wants to become president, he should stop staying at Mululu and saying, I want to be endorsed. I am a Luya leader. So what? You must know there is Vanga, there is Marsabit, there is Garissa. Let me give you an example. You come from the Kalenjin community.
Yeah, sure.
We are not saying that's wrong. We celebrate it. But the Republic of Kenya is the most important thing in this country. We are not going to... You know what? You have a member of the Kalenjin community who wants to be president. Deputy President William Ruto. William Ruto doesn't stay in Tarbo to be endorsed. He is looking for votes in Vanga. He's looking for votes in Garissa. Every other weekend, William Ruto is meeting people across the Republic because he knows the Kalenjin vote is nothing. And he's not asking for the Kalenjin community to unite against the Kikuyu. Instead, he's bringing the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin together, the Luya and the Kalenjin together. So these guys who talk about Luya unity, quote and quote, are useless.
So the problem is that Mudavadi never leaves. You said it's Mululu home.
Have you ever heard him? How often do you even see him in Nairobi doing things? Let me ask you, Gerard. It's not that I'm disrespectful for the guy. The guy went to school. He has a university degree. But I'm asking you, if today William Ruto sat at home at Sugoi, then called all Kalenjins, let us unite. What will happen? So that William Ruto knows very well, you can't be the president of Kenya just by uniting the community. You become the president of Kenya by uniting the whole republic. President Uhuru Kenyatta became president not because he's Kikuyu. He became president because he walked around the country asking for votes. By the way, where I come from in Bungoma, we voted for Kenyatta. We also voted for Kibaki. Is that wrong?
No, it's not wrong.
So you want us to vote for a Luya? So you vote for a Kalenjin? Nonsense. We can't have that kind of thing, Gerard. Let's tell you the truth. We want somebody who unites the country. So the Luya unity you have talked about
is you guys don't want it. It's unnecessary.
For what?
All right. So even let's talk about, there's a statement you made that one.
We want a president for Kenya. I don't want to dismiss Musalia. I don't dismiss even Wetangula. But if they want to rule this country, they must present themselves as national leaders, not as Luya leaders. And then we're okay.
So you mentioned those actually, there's a new entrant, that is the COG chair, who was also joined in the ring. The three guys, how did you describe them? Let's start from Mudavadi, Wetangula, and now Paranya was coming.
They have always missed the point. These are my brothers. But sometimes I think I have brothers who are funny. How they're good. They have good brains, but their focus on politics is shocking. They think first somebody can endorse them.
They're always waiting for endorsements.
You see, if a girl wants you, she must move near you and make some gestures that will know she's interested. But if also you want a girl, you can't get a wife by just sitting in a sitting room and waiting to be endorsed for the girl. You will see her passing by another.
Waiting for a mother to endorse, you.
You will not get it. So these three guys, even there is another one, the fourth one. There is even Mukisa Kitui. They have joined. But you know what? They need to persuade the entire country. Whichever way they want. Their presidential ambitions are valid. But how often do they get out? Who knows them in Masai Land? Who knows them in Vanga? Who knows them in Marsabit? who knows them in Turkana. That is where they should go, because alone, even if everybody votes to the last person in Luya land, nobody will become president. So, and again, because of that naive, constricted space that they have, many people walk in, and that's why Raila Odinga was able to walk in and get many votes, because the general populace among the Luya do not think that you become president using the Luya as a stepping stone. You must become the president of the entire republic. And so that's why Raila would come in, take away those votes, or use them to win the to get votes. Now they must change tact.
Bure, they'll still remain wakizunguka Nairobi umesema na Mulalo.
Why are you not asking me? That what could be going to Ruto, by the way.
The Luya vote.
Yeah, it's the guy is not talking about Luya unity. He's talking about national unity, and many people, especially the voters, want a national president. So they might give it to Ruto. They have been giving it to Raila, but I think they might now give it to Ruto.
That is what the chances look like.
They look like that. I could be wrong. I'm not a soothsayer. I've done some science. I've done some science. When you check, ground in tofauti.
Vitu kwa ground mbaya.
Vitu kwa ground mbaya. Hapo ni Ruto.
Alright. Nimona now, even on the same as you talk about the alignments, there seems to be a new alignment. And the most surprising thing is, they're the same guys now in different times are still together. I've looked at the elements that I saw the standard newspaper that is on Sunday, and it was giving us some alignments, political alignments to coalition structure for 2022 poll as on the headlines. And on one hand we have the usual guys, Raila Odinga, flanked by Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula. I'm also seeing Kalonzo, Joe, and Gideon Moi. There's one thing, these other guys on the other side, William Ruto, there's Kiunjuri, there's Adan Duale, there is, I'm seeing Munyes, I think, no, is it Munyes? And then there is, no, it is not Munyes. And then there is Isaac Ruta, and there is Mudama. On the other hand, there's something that's quite surprising. Is there a kind of a revival of the NASA coalition on the other end? And the question is, NASA coalition has collapsed almost twice. These guys have been together for 3 times. They've been running 3 times as a group. They are now going in for the 4th time. The question is, what is it that keeps them clamped up together?
These formations have only 2 platforms. Whichever way you look at him, there is a formation of losers and a formation of winners. So what unites some of these people in some camp is that they're used to losing. When you see formation of Kalonzo, Musalia, this is a formation of losers. They like losing. So when the elections are coming, they get into a suicidal political arrangement that is suicidal. So they identify with the likes of political friends that believe in losing. Then there are other groups that are focusing on power, and they know how to get power. So these groups will keep forming and forming, but Gerard, finally you'll get the winning team. Those who know what power is and how winning is will find themselves in the same camp. But those who like losing will find themselves on the one side, but they will fight over losing. If you look at NASA group, the coalition, what were they fighting for in 2018? They were fighting about loss. Moses Weta, Musalia, Raila. Then Raila saying, these guys have come to fail to swear me up, to join me in swearing me as a people's president. What were they fighting over? Loss. How to own the loss. But then one of them escaped into Jubilee and left the others. But when he went to Jubilee, he thought he will win now. He's being pulled back to the loss side. They are going to lose again. So you have Raila Odinga. Now he's complaining about Jubilee. What business is he doing in Jubilee? So these formations you are seeing are defined by those 2 major platforms. There is the platform for winning and the platform for losing. Now currently, the platform, look, if Ruto had not escaped from this team in 2007, he would not be a deputy president. Let me tell you, Ruto realized that he's going to lose, and he stopped working with the losers. Then he joined the winner, the winning group. Uhuru knew how to win power. So Ruto joined Uhuru in 2013 and left losers. Then in 2017, again, Ruto operated with Uhuru. They won. Now, this group keeps on going back to each other. They cheat each other. They tell each other lies. One manipulates them. I think the super manipulator there is Raila Odinga. He knows how to manipulate the rest. The rest of the pack. Manipulate them towards laws.
Is it a charm?
It's not even a witchcraft. I don't know how to describe it. It is
because these are the guys who are crying the other day. They were saying we've been betrayed. Raila Odinga ametuacha akaenda kakula handshake and they're the same guys again who are clamping back.
They are narrow.
And I'm trying to wonder what is the new inspiration? What is about to change?
They are trying to imagine they will beat Ruto. The connecting point there, they are arranging how to lose to Ruto. You know, Gerard, I'm telling you the truth. It's not about emotions. This is the truth. If you look at William Ruto today, who probably is inspiring them to create these camps. William Ruto, in 2017, let's start with Raila Odinga before we get to William Ruto. In 2017, in 2007, Raila Odinga had the Rift Valley vote. It was his. But you know what? He was manipulated through Mao to hit at his support base. He lost it. By 2013, he didn't have that support base. In 2017, as a thing, he was in charge of Western. But when he got the handshake, he did a few things that made him lose Western. How did he lose? Because of the regional nature of our politics. Weta, who was his partner, was removed from Senate as minority leader, and the thing went to the neighbor, Orengo. The local politics, mambo kwa ground, said, anachukua kiti chetu anapeleka kwa Orengo. Then of course, there was the issue of Echesa. Echesa loses the ministerial post, alafu unajua hiyo kiti ilichezewa ikaenda kwa Makoha. So, like the Mao, he was lured into a trap to lose Western. He was lured. Now, he has been lured in many places to lose regions. And these regions, if you tell him, he will not accept it. So, that's why I'm saying this team is a team of losers. They like losing. And they enjoy losing. They have perfected losing to a fine art. So, now, we are having 2021, 2022. Their brother, William Ruto, is now organizing himself. He has now this as Raila loses Western, Ruto takes over. As Raila loses the coast, Ruto takes over. As Raila loses the Rift Valley, Ruto is the one who's inheriting that. Now, there was this handshake, Gerard. You know that the handshake was simply to promise that Mount Kenya will be given
to Baba.
Imekuwa ngumu. Ama mimi ndiye naona.
And I keep wondering, daktari.
Imekuwa ngumu. Sasa hiyo vote ni ya Ruto. Sasa hiyo vitu wewe hizi kura hata kama mkihesabu na deep state, hizi kura zitaenda wapi? Kwani deep state itachukua tu hizi kura ipatie mtu ambaye hajapita? Unajua hii mtu atashitaki deep state yake mwenyewe. Somebody will take to the deep state, his own deep state to court. You remember how Trump did it?
Yeah.
So where these votes seem to be votes for William Ruto. So, and you know, it's not me who is giving this votes to Ruto. I'm stating the truth. So where will they get the votes?
That is science. And I keep wondering about the handshake. And with the latest development that is happening on the political scene, the first thing is about, let's look at the handshake, for instance.
Yes.
And I think when you look at the beneficiaries of the handshake, the president, first of all, does not have any interest in the handshake because he's an outgoing president. I mean, there's no political gains that much because he can choose to go quiet and go on. The person who wants the president is Raila Odinga, there's William Ruto, there's these other guys, Kena Kalonzo Musyoka and Mudavadi. When you look at the handshake, it was first of all designed, or it felt to be designed to give Raila Odinga an head start. It was 2022. But it looks like it's clawing back on him. Let's look at the burden of incumbency. He's now the one who's being blamed for the failures of a government that he joined on its last term. Let's look at Central Kenya, for instance. People like Waiguru, they're the ones who are shaking his hand in Capitol Hill. Today they're making a turn. And I keep wondering, Daktari, because we are a political scientist.
Yes.
Do you feel this was scripted from the word go? Like it was a script, let's go this way, then when he gets somewhere, we start making a turn. Look at Kangata. Kangata made a 360 the other day. unturned. You're also looking at Waiguru. Waiguru is almost getting out of that fold or coming on this other hand. The question is, do you think this was a script? The handshake was a script in itself to tame Raila Odinga towards 2022. I could be wrong, but that's the observation that I've been trying to see of late.
Let me tell you, Gerard. In politics, if you want to participate in politics, you must either be Machiavellian or you must know something about Machiavelli, the prince, the 16th century political theorist. It is the art of deception. It's about interests. So if you are available to be deceived, so be it. Raila is always available to be deceived. It is very easy. You know, if there's somebody willing to be deceived, why would you not deceive him? Let me give you an example. Suppose it was Ruto who is pursuing this handshake or probably the BBI and giving the bad news. Ruto would not win the election in 2022. So, it's true, there can't be a plot. If politics is about interest, it was in the interest of Uhuru Kenyatta to make sure that after the 2017 elections, his government is stable and it is peaceful. And he has achieved that. And if achieving that meant deceiving Raila, that was good. Because the ends justify what? The means. But if Raila was available to be deceived, why are you blaming Uhuru? You wanted Uhuru to avoid doing things that can stabilize his government. He did it. Now, secondly, because politics is about interests, Gerard, you have Waiguru, you have Kangata. What's their interest? It can't be their interest to die for Raila and lose elections in Mount Kenya. That is madness. You think Kangata is a lawyer? He's not a madman. Waiguru is an intelligent lady. She has been our cabinet secretary. She's not mad. She cannot be so suicidal to die for Raila and lose Mount Kenya. So interests have changed. And if interests have changed, don't talk about betrayal. That is the sweetness of politics. So nobody should blame Uhuru. Nobody should blame Kama. They have a right to change their mind. Even you have a right to change your mind. Maybe you could invite me to this studio, but in the morning you change your mind. What's wrong with that? It is in the constitution. You have freedom to choose, to hold an opinion, to change. So therefore these guys are changing because the ground, ground so the ground is different. The ground doesn't think that a ticket which involves handshake manenos can make sense in Mount Kenya. So therefore, they have changed, they are moving out, and nobody should cry. You know what? Raila Odinga, because of this deception, he has wasted a lot of time doing nothing. You know? If you waste a lot of time being deceived, you pay the price. So don't blame anybody people are always available to be deceived. Even when you want to be conned, a guy can call you on the streets of Nairobi and tell you, you know what, we can make, how much money do you have in the pocket? And then you say, I have 500 shillings. Then you say, I can convert it to 5,000. Then take you in a corner and do that. And then by the time you realize you have lost the 500 shillings. So if you are available to be deceived, why would you deceive? Yes, and the politics is the art of...
It's a game of deception.
It is a game of deception. It's about self-glorification. 17 required that he talks to Raila, and he has succeeded. The interest of Kinakangata and the company was that to support the handshake up to a certain point as it serves their interests. But now they know that the big trophy is 2022. What is their interest? To lose the elections? No. They can't join losers. They want to win elections. And to win elections, they have asked the people on the ground, they realize coming in with a ticket of handshake, BBI, is not making sense. People have their own calculation. And maybe you will ask me later why the people don't want BBI. And then I will tell you, the ground has told them, you know, this thing is not good.
So the issue is one of that, as you're talking about in Central Kenya. And there are two phases into it. And the first one is, you mentioned about the ground, that maybe the ground is demanding that, you know, you sing a certain tune. That's what Kangata quoted actually. He said, I've been on the ground, watu ground wanasema hivi.
Yes.
That is number one. The second one is what you mentioned about deception. Could it have been that Raila Odinga being brought in on a handshake was to, you know, was a script to tame him for that time, and as we get towards 2022 they drop him like an old potato? Which of the options do you think is very real? Could Uhuru Kenyatta also be part of this scheme? Like, he said, okay, guys, come. There's this guy who was made it almost impossible to govern. Let's fix him for now. as we get to a certain point, we start disintegrating. Do you think it's part of the scheme? I've always asked, as an observer, I've always asked because, and the question is, Raila Odinga has taken Uhuru Kenyatta to Kisumu several times. The other day, they're also launching projects in Kisumu. I've never seen President Uhuru Kenyatta taking Raila to Central Kenya, or Kiambu for that matter. Do you think there's a scheme of things? There's a scheme of deception in this game of the answer?
How do you want me to emphasize that? I've told you, Gerard, that it was in the interest of Uhuru Kenyatta to stabilize his government after 2017. Every politician would do that. Would you blame him? The ends justify the means. The end goal was to stabilize his government. The means can be anything, including deception. And if he has used deception to get Raila on his side and stabilize his government, Uhuru becomes a political genius. And as a political genius, why would you blame him there? So it's not enough to just say, do you think Uhuru is part of it? Uhuru is the main player in this. He is the main player. He had to stabilize his government, and he has stabilized his government. It's coming to the last year, and it is fine with that. But you cannot do that. You can't have your cake
and eat it.
Eat it. So you see what Uhuru Kenyatta wanted is stability. The reason why he has not taken Raila to Mount Kenya, ground in Mbaya. The ground is not good. But you know what? In terms of optics, if Uhuru appears in Nyanza, it shows appreciation of Raila and maybe support. But Uhuru cannot, even if he takes Raila to Mount Kenya, Uhuru is not seeking election in 2022. So it's of no value. The main objective of our president is to stabilize his government and make sure it's operating peacefully, and nobody is interfering with us. Nobody's putting it under undue pressure. If I was in Raila's camp and I was able to advise him, I know I don't qualify even to be in his camp. I don't even qualify to be in his compound. But I'm just saying this. If I were to go there, I would have told him, please watch out this. He has very intelligent people around him. I see them. I respect them. But I wonder what they tell him. Or probably they tell him and he doesn't understand. From day one, the handshake was supposed to fail. Why was it supposed to fail? You know, it was crafted, its skeleton was assembled in a way that will irritate the public. And when it irritates the public, Uhuru loses nothing because he was not going to seek re-election. But this other guy who would still go to the people has a lot of questions to ask. Where did you involve the people? Who asked for constitutional change? Why are you forcing these things on us? Even when you ask the chiefs and the provincial administration to organize signature collection, even when you argue that there will be no change in full stop, you irritate people. And that irritation has helped to alienate people from Raila Odinga. But Uhuru doesn't need to explain because he's doing his term too. Sasa mutadu, you do nothing. But Raila must explain to us what happened. And you can see he's walking around trying to explain, but it doesn't work. Uhuru is not explaining much. He comes once in a while. But because Raila thinks he can run for elections in 2022, he's the one explaining. Now, they did this and sidelined his brother. When we finally reach 2022, the chief campaigners of William Ruto will be Uhuru and Raila. I am telling you this, Gerard. You know what? I don't know whether William Ruto would agree with me. But he's lucky. He's a lucky man. This man is lucky. He has two main campaigners, chief campaigners. The campaign chief, Raila Odinga and Uhuru. Everything they have done has favored Ruto. Suppose Ruto was in government. So that's where even the deception is. The guy is lucky. You know, in politics, you also need some luck. William Ruto is lucky. To get two big people campaigning for him without him asking for that.
Is that let's talk about the people. There's something you mentioned about the people. Raila Odinga has for the longest time come out as a mobilizer of the people. Yes. He has always had a constituency that's so solid. Yes. And he's a constituency that always feels oppressed for the longest time.
Yes.
He rallies himself ahead of people who feel oppressed by governments.
Yes.
For the longest time, that's what he thrives in. whenever he's out of government, he mobilizes people who are irritated, constituency, a kind of a constituency that feel like they've been betrayed by government. But there seems, it looks like since Raila got into handshake, and you mentioned the people, it seems like he keeps losing that constituency, and the person who is speaking in that constituency seems to be William Ruto. And there's a narrative that's coming up right now, is that for the longest time, as well as for the first time of the Jubilee, the person who kept putting the government on check and telling them you need to sort out the issues of the poor people has been Raila Odinga. And that's what really inspired the people to move up behind him. The person who is taking that narrative now is William Ruto. And the thing is, the other day I also seen, looked like Raila has realized that he is losing to his constituency. And he's coming to fight back, blaming Uhuru Kenyatta for the failures in government. Is it too late for him to reclaim this constituency? Is it gone with the wind?
I think so. Mm-hmm. Amesamba. Mm-hmm. Amechoma. Wewe. Gerard. Amesamba. Hakuna. You see what? The handshake exposed Raila Odinga very badly. You know, in my place, where I come from, it's like the daughter-in-law seeing the father-in-law naked. Then you realize the father-in-law has some wounds on the back, which you never knew about. He says, this man has been suffering. So the handshake exposed Raila Odinga very badly. When he went into government, he became arrogant. He started speaking. He took over the position of government spokesman. In fact, he did very many things that Colonel Oguna would have done. So, on doctors, saying how government is doing this. He even started summoning cabinet ministers. Then he realized this guy can practice power which is not in the constitution, and yet he tells us he's a Democrat and he believes in constitutionalism. But where does he derive this power he's practicing? So that showed him as a person who demonstrated it is a person who doesn't respect the constitution. Then he started defending BBI. You know, everything in the government was right, even when we knew it was wrong. Even when there was a problem with KEMSA, he says, you know, these are exaggerations. We must do. Money is lost, but he seemed to say, you know what, we should investigate. This could be just rumors. Until it became clear that things were not doing very well. So the handshake exposed Raila Odinga as a political hypocrite, in the sense that he doesn't mean what he wants. Once he gets power, he's not likely to be the Democrat they thought he was. Now, on the other hand, this disillusioned people started trooping towards Ruto. And Ruto has given them a new agenda, the Hustler movement. Now, this Hustler movement doesn't even just talk about poor people. Ruto has given a new message of hope. Raila, it's the usual stuff. And the Hustler movement is not about the poor people alone. It's about also rich people who have worked hard. The wheelbarrow is a symbol of work. It's a basic symbol of work. That people can work hard from the wheelbarrow and rise to be billionaires. So Ruto celebrates both billionaires who have worked hard, but he also celebrates poor people who are struggling to become billionaires. As a result, that gives a new shape to our politics. Secondly, Ruto doesn't want to organize people along ethnic lines. He has refused. Many times I think William Ruto has been told, go and become a Kalenjin leader. He has refused. You come from that region. Ruto is not a Kalenjin leader. He has refused many times. He wants to be a leader of the republic. But you can see the thinking of people like Raila Odinga is, let us have regional kingpins, so that you can have a lower kingpin, at the cost a kingpin. Then you bring these kingpins on the table to share power and then finally share resources. It doesn't have room for small people. So you have the high table, but down here you don't know who is there. But Ruto now is focusing on the small people. But
the question is, Prof, even as you look at that,
yes,
why should we believe is Raila being deceived? It could be Raila also deceiving Uhuru, because one would argue, for the first time, we now have projects in Kisumu. We have MV Uhuru in Kisumu. We've been seeing bypasses being built in Kisumu. We've been seeing a lot of attention of the presidency in Kisumu. What if it's actually Raila Odinga is deceiving Uhuru Kenyatta?
No, Uhuru Kenyatta has a duty to make sure projects go on in Nyanza. It doesn't depend on Raila. Raila has focused on power. But Uhuru must focus on the voters. So when you have highways in Kisumu, you have projects on the lake going on, it's for our people. Our people need those resources. It doesn't matter whether even Uhuru Kenyatta disagrees with Raila Odinga. He has a duty to make sure that his government provides service. And I'm very impressed by that, by the way, Gerard, that the fact that Uhuru Kenyatta is doing that. But he should not do that because of Raila Odinga. Because it means that when Raila is not there, nothing can happen. Our people deserve those services. They deserve the roads. So there's no deception about it. It is their right. They must get those services. And it should not depend on that. But in terms of getting power, single-handedly, Raila Odinga could be deceived so that he doesn't realize the ultimate goal. But when he doesn't get it, and Uhuru's government step is okay. But Ruto, on the other hand, is saying, look, my brother Uhuru has reached this point and done this, but I have a different approach. We can now, moving forward after Uhuru, do this. But Raila Odinga is still stuck where he was in 2017. Occasionally telling us he won the election. Then he goes into the Jubilee government with Uhuru. You know what? After you have been fed by a friend, then you go out and say he doesn't know how to cook. How can Raila now start criticizing Uhuru Kenyatta? He walked in there. Uhuru Kenyatta has fed him, has given him favors. He has given him state security and many other things. He has enjoyed the trappings of power. Then he says this Jubilee administration has not achieved much. Is that respectful? You know, if you don't want to agree, don't come and eat my food.
But also on the question of respect, the deputy president has been accused of disrespecting the presidency.
No,
a government that he is part of, and people have argued if he feels dissatisfied as he seems, why is it that he's not resigning? Even Mudavi the other day was saying he's going to push a debate in parliament to impeach the deputy president. When you talk about respect, why the deputy president has been accused of being disrespectful to the presidency? Do you think that's the case?
No, I don't remember any case. Any incident where the deputy president has ever disrespected the president. I would, as an educated man in this country, even me, I would never disrespect the president, because the president of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, has legitimacy, and his legitimacy is in the way we voted for him. So we voted for Kenyatta. And therefore, that legitimacy is not questionable until his term expires. So the deputy president has only expressed opinion on a number of things. Look at the humility of the deputy president at the Bomas of Kenya. When they were launching the PPI, he used words like, in my respectful opinion, you cannot do this and this. The deputy president is first and foremost a citizen of Kenya. Under Article 3, all of us are supposed to protect the Constitution. And so when you protect the Constitution, we do not become what? Rebels. So the deputy president has never been a rebel to the president. He has only expressed opinion. But the buck stops with the president. Even when the deputy president has expressed contrary opinion, he has never forced the president to do things his way. The president still is the chief executive of this country and can do anything and does things the way he wants. And the deputy president cannot question that. He can express opinion. So if expression of opinion is why some people start saying the deputy president is disrespecting the president, that is political naivety. But he doesn't abuse the president. He defends the president. You saw yesterday.
Yeah,
he was defending the president. And so what do you want the deputy president to do? People talk about the resignation. There is nothing in the Constitution that says when you disagree with the president, you have a contrary opinion to that one of the president, you resign. The deputy president is not a political robot. He's a human being, and he has a duty to do things which are right to the republic. He has a duty to advise the president, and the president takes the final decision. And he can tell the president, I think doing this way, thinks this way is the correct thing, but the final decision is yours. Even if he doesn't agree with the president. So the deputy president has done that, and for a very long time he seems not to have been at the center of power, but he still has been respectful to the president. this ticket of Uhuru under Ruto did not make Ruto a lesser leader. It only, Ruto was elected. That ticket is an elective post. So why do you, where in the constitution, tell me any clause which it says that when the deputy president expresses opinion that do not support the president, he resigns. These guys who talk about these things don't even understand the constitution. Some of them are overweight. They don't even read the constitution. So they come here to tell you he should resign. Where is that in law? Gerard, you must tell our people. I think some of them come to this studio. Tell them, read the constitution. You must organize a classroom where people can come.
I need to extend. I need to build a hall.
Yes, so that they can come. Then you tell them, you say this guy should resign. Tell me which clause among the 18 chapters of our national constitution that say when the deputy president says something that does not agree with that one of the president,
he should resign.
He should resign.
As we are to the next topic, sir, you've been accused of being partisan. Are you partisan or it's science? Someone have thrown accusation that you're partisan. Are you partisan in your analysis or it's science?
It's I'm partisan with the truth. Right?
So it's science.
It's science. Like what I'm telling you, you can do a gallop in your studio here, your media, you take people out and then ask, I've told you that Ruto seems to have taken Mount Kenya. They seem to believe him. He charms them. He charms Rift Valley. He charms Western. He's charming the coast. And you know what happened in Nairobi. Gerard, why are we not having the governor's elections? It's about Ruto.
That's exactly where I wanted us to go.
He was winning. So when I tell you that Ruto will become the president and probably Ruto is controlling these areas and he has worked hard for it, you must give the guy some credit. People don't want the truth. So when you tell them the truth, they say you are partisan. I'm just a voter. I have just one vote. But I'm facing these guys. I'm telling them that Ruto has taken away the voters. He's going with them. So you also rush. Even if it's a pandemonium, knock each other's heads as you get back your votes. The ones you used to control. This guy has gone away, has run away. The girl is gone. So when I tell them that, they say, oh, no, it can't work. Then they start organizing themselves in clusters of losers. And then they say, we want now, this is the lineup. You see, if you're coming from Rift Valley and you are part of the cluster of losers, you know, you meet people on a table and you know you have nothing to bring on the table. So you can have 10 people calling themselves kingpins. But you must come with voters. So among those fellows, the way you looked at them, the only realistic candidate who can run against Ruto is Raila Odinga. And I'm being honest on this one. I'm not being, because the contest will be there. There are at least people he can bring on the table. But these other candidates, the fringe candidates, they're not working hard. They don't show any incentive. Some are waiting to be endorsed. You want to be endorsed by people who have no people. Then you say, I want to be president. You see what? Look at a case of our brother Musalia. I want to just be very honest with that. I'm not partisan. Before William Ruto became a member of parliament in 1997, Musalia was already a minister 7 years. You get the point?
Yeah.
Now, Musalia even rose to become a vice president. How did William Ruto overtake him? Are these bad questions to ask? How did we? Well, so therefore, people can say I'm partisan. I'm partisan to the truth. I support the truth and I set fact. I do science. I've made an assessment. It's not about support. The message of William Ruto seems to sink deep into the minds of the people, and he seems to have really gained a lot of ground. It is not about Kisiangani. It is the truth. So if that is what they call partisanship, so be it.
Umesarenda, umejitolea. Kama hiyo ndio partisan, wacha ikuwe ni partisan.
But that's the truth, Gerard. Nakwambia ukweli. Yaani ninyi mnapenda Gerard. Kwa nini mnapenda uongo?
Mimi sipendi uongo. Ni watu wako tu wanasema bwana Kisiangani, nikasema acha niulize hata mimi.
Sasa wewe unaniuliza nini? Yaani hii ukweli itabadilika. Sasa nikisema Gerard wewe utakuwa president na ninajua hutakuwa.
I'll feel good. I'll only have to feel good.
Ndio utasikia vizuri.
Lakini president siwezi kuwa. Nasikia vizuri lakini najua siwezi kuwa president.
Sasa hawa watu wenzako mengine ndio marafiki zako, uwaambie kwamba hamtakuwa president. Na pengine kama vile tunacheza ball. Chelsea, Man U, so wabadilishe structure, wabadilishe ma coaches, wabadilishe tactics.
Now, so you feel that you are addressing ostriches who have their heads deep in the sand, and they are saying, okay, at least we cannot see the problem.
Yes.
So you tell them that your heads are deep in the sand, and maybe your whole body is out. They'll say, no, we are in the sand.
They should just come out. Let me be a bit soft to them. Let them come out and show what they are made of. Let them show their quintessential type. Their quintessential version. So that they say, look, this is what I can provide for Kenya. This is what I would do for Kenya. And then let them get out to every part of the republic and tell people why they want to be president. Let us hear them every weekend, every other day, and let them show commitment that they can change this country to a different level. Before that, they are planning to lose. Now, if I've told them that you guys are planning to lose, and this is 2021, they can do something about it, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
So if they can do something about it, I will be happy. They are our citizens, and there's nobody who has a permanent claim on the president. We're going to assess all of them, but as things stand now, one guy has overtaken them. Ni kunoma. Ni ngori.
Tukuje Nairobi. Why is it we're not having a by-election? What's happening in Nairobi? Is it legal or illegal? The takeover in Nairobi? I mean, for once we have a deputy governor who had not been vetted. Suddenly he's being vetted in absentia of the person who appointed him, or who appointed her. And now we are saying we're not going to have a by-election in Nairobi. What's going on in Nairobi?
The problem is fear of Ruto. They fear Ruto. Nothing else. You know what? I'm not going to rationalize, waste your time in this studio to rationalize things which are not true. The hustler movement has taken root. There were so many careless things that Raila Odinga and his Jubilee supporters within government did. For example, they decided, Gerard, that they removed Songo without planning how that will end. So they removed Songo, and they just realized they have a bigger problem. There was no deputy governor in place. Then Songo supporters tilted towards the hustler movement. Now, if you call an election today in Nairobi, the person who will win the election as governor will come from the hustler movement.
Why do you say that?
There is massive support for that. And I have, again, science. Our own assessment of the situation, my political assessment of the situation is there are so many people who think Songo was not treated well. And there are also other people, especially the middle class like yourself, who think the constitution is being overlooked, violated. The law is being violated to fix the Nairobi problem. Even the way Kananu was sworn in, she's a decent lady. But how do you revive an appointment which was never there? It didn't take place. So how are you going to authenticate that? All the rules of procedure have been violated. The constitution has been violated. And so, when you think about it, some people say NMS. I don't want to talk about NMS. By the way, NMS, I want to give them credit. They have done some things which I like. But they are not an issue. In my opinion, the question you have asked, Gerard, is about why we are not having elections in Nairobi is because a Ruto-leaning candidate would win.
And you're very pretty sure about that?
I'm pretty sure about it. And because of that, a Ruto leading candidate winning is a big blow to Raila Odinga. You know, we have the way people vote in Nairobi, it follows how they feel in their home areas. If Mount Kenya has a lot of support voters in Nairobi, which you know, where are they likely to go? Western, where are they likely to go? Ukambani, where are they likely to go? You think along those lines, then you'll understand how the Nairobi vote will go. The Nairobi vote has local things, but also it has a relationship with what happens in the ancestral homes of these voters in Nairobi. So therefore, the reason why Nairobi voting is difficult and why people have problems about Nairobi is because the fear that if we hold an election right now, the Ruto-leaning candidate is likely to win.
All right. As we close the election conversation, let's look at the by-elections that are coming up. There's a by-election in Western Kenya, 2 by-elections in Western Kenya. We have a by-election in Ukambani. We have by-elections coming up in Nakuru. What's your prediction? What is your scientific prediction on what the by-elections would look like?
You know, in terms of things can change very fast in a by-election. Even what is happening today can change tomorrow, depending on the dynamics. As things stand now, and they could change in the next few months, a few weeks before the election, Western Kenya, because of what's happening at national politics, it is likely to go to UDA. Matungu and Kabuchai could easily go to UDA. Now, the reason is this. A lot of people seem to be excited by this new message from Ruto. A message which does not talk about tribe, but a message that talks about people and their hassles and the problems that they're going through, which are common across ethnic communities. So, and a lot of people have converged in that area from other parts of the Kenya country. You can see that it's no longer Western Kenya's issue. You see Muthama there. You see Hassan Omari there. The feeling that we are part of the greater Kenya is likely to excite a lot of people. So as we talk now, Matungu and the Kabuchai seem to be going towards UDA. But depending on which strategy that Honorable Wetangula and Honorable Musalia Mudavadi will have, because it is too early in the day, they can still overturn that. But if we were to go to an election right now, Matungu and Kabuchai would go to UDA because of the current excitement.
It has the last of the Asla narrative, and the Asla narrative has been bashed and accused of causing or pitting the poor against the rich. And I saw there's someone else who even the president himself has come out to criticize and say you cannot bring up the poor and pit them against the rich. I mean, you're creating a disaster. Do you feel that's what is happening? Do you think the Asla narrative is putting more poison into the fabric of our society? Or it's starting as a good conversation? Is it a good conversation or a dangerous conversation?
You know, first of all, I want to condemn anybody who is misusing the hustler narrative to create animosity among our people, banning property and so on. I don't think that is the meaning of a hustler and the hustler movement. Let me tell you this. The hustler narrative is not about the poor against the rich. But the hustler, as I said, the symbol of hustling is the wheelbarrow. That is a symbol, the basic symbol, tool of work. So respect for work is what the hustler is. So when you work can be rewarding. So you move up the ladder, you work hard. This hustler movement celebrates people like James Mwangi of Equity. SK Macharia, who went to such a huge media house that serves our republic. These are people who started from humble background. Yes. So like where you have started here, you are in this studio, you never know what you will do tomorrow. We must encourage you to go up the ladder. You could even come to work through using Anduthi. But that does not mean that you live forever for Anduthi. So these guys are trying to twist it. Because it is real. I don't think that anybody should envy guys who have worked hard. Hustlers are not just poor people, but they are also rich people who have worked hard to the top. William Ruto is an example of a hustler. He has some money now, but he has worked hard from a kitchen cellar. We want to give hope to our people, not to kill or destroy those who already have wealth, but also to work hard and get wealth. Not to sit on the streets and start destroying or fighting those who already have wealth, but to ask, how can I also work hard? So the respect for work is one of the biggest values of the hustle movement. Then the celebration of those who have succeeded after hard work. But the opposite of it is this group that has a sense of entitlement. Who think, Gerard, they can sit here, you sit here to earn some money to pay rent. But there are people who don't even know how rent is paid. But they still want power. They still want to lead us. How can you, as a person who doesn't know how rent is paid, start looking after rent payers? So we want fellows who have this experience like the one you have, and you rise to the top and look after people, because you know life is full of stages, and you can go through those stages. You can graduate to stage 2 like a child in school. When you say a standard 1 kid today who has joined standard 1 this year, you don't know that is going to be our president. But that child might even write 7 as if it's not 7, upside down. But that kid, when it's nurtured and works hard, next time he's doing calculus, you won't believe he was a standard 1 kid.
So you want to be led by fellow rent payers. All right, BBI, is it eating the headwinds? And why?
BBI. Which headwinds? You know what? It was always in trouble from day one. So when you say it is hitting the headwinds, it's as if it has ever had a soft sail. It has been in turbulence since it started. You know what? Gerard, maybe the ship is now going to capsize after many hours of turbulence. The plane could be crashing, and maybe you need me to explain why.
Please, I need you to explain that. I need to explain.
The case is this: the question of inclusivity. The people of Kenya didn't ask for change of the constitution. That's a fact. You know, if we had asked for change of the constitution, things would have been very easy. But our two leaders chose to tell us we need to change the constitution. Fixing the problem of Kenya is not the preserve of two people, not Uhuru, not Raila, not Ruto. The problems of Kenya must be fixed by the people of Kenya. So it's us to say we want change of the constitution. Well, the problem is, contrary to what our leaders think, most of us think the reason why things are not working in Kenya is because the 2010 constitution is not being implemented. So when you tell me you want a new constitutional order and you are unable to implement the last constitution and the other constitutional order, how am I sure that the laws you are passing are just not for cosmetic reasons? If you can't implement the 2020 constitution, how can you now implement the PBI changes? You have to persuade the Republic that this time you mean business. And it is a tough job to tell us you can't implement 2010, but you will implement PBI. That's the first thing. So it creates a legitimate problem. The second part of the PBI is this: the lies in the proposals. Right now, Gerard, our country projected to raise about 1.6 trillion shillings in the current budget of 2.7 trillion. Now, as we talk now, almost all the debts that have now matured will take away the money we collect in taxes to the tune of 1 trillion. We remain with 600 what? We remain with 600 billion shillings to be shared between county and national governments. Now, if you say that under BPI we are going to have 35% allocation to the counties, it is a sexy thing. It is appealing. But it's a lie. How is it a lie? The fact is that right now the government is struggling to raise 15% to the counties. So how does the paper you call BBI paper, a proposal, convert into money? So if we today change and move the county allocation from 316 billion, which is a representation of the 15% we are talking about, to 35%, we shall get to about 565 billion. Now 565 billion under the current circumstances, where we have only remained with 600 billion, the rest we have made debts. What do we remain with? Just about 100 billion to run national government, while the counties will have gotten 565. What do you think that's possible? So where is the correct sign in this economy that it can create money? 35% for the counties
through a constitutional
amendment. Can a constitutional amendment create money? So the first business of any government that will take place will take power in 2022, whether it will be William Ruto or Raila Odinga, is to tell the Republic that we cannot implement 35%. If you pass BBI, their first business
is to tell you the truth.
To tell you the truth that we cannot implement 35%. Mutadu. So this is the question: is our economy has a problem, and it is not going to raise 35%. We are struggling with 15%. So therefore, this lie is also in the BBI. So why would you lie to the people that this will work? When you know that it will not work, you will say it can't work, because even now the national government is struggling. The third thing, and I can say very many things, but this one is critical, Gerard. If you look at the proposals in BBI, through a bridge has been built to connect the executive with parliament. So the executive has built a bridge into parliament. Through the prime ministers, he can appoint and sack. But the same bridge has been built into the judiciary through the ombudsman. So the executive under BBI will manipulate parliament through the appointment of ministers who are members of parliament, through the appointment and sacking of the prime minister and assistant deputy prime ministers. And the ombudsman will be the spy on judges in the judiciary. Now, which powers does the BBI give parliament to check the president? Which powers does BBI give the judiciary to also counter-check the executive? None. So what you are going to end up with in terms of this BBI is you will create a presidency that looks like Museveni's. Parliament will have to do what the executive wants. The judiciary will do what the executive wants. Because while you push the executive to check parliament and start spying on parliament and doing things in parliament, you do not give parliament the same power to check the executive. Now, those of us who have spent many years in school can't be taken in by that cheap lies. We want our country to be secure. We respect our leaders. We respect the president. We respect all leaders. But my brother, BBI, it's not the headwinds of BBI. The turbulence of BBI is huge. We did not take any audit of all the successes of the 2010 constitution. That's why it's haphazard. Now, I don't want to say many things about BBI. I want just to tell you this. There is a determination to have a referendum about it. Of what value are we going to have a constitutional order where we have losers and we have also people who are celebrating victory? These are issues that we can thrash out. Question number one, do we need a new constitutional order? 2, have we implemented the 2010 constitution? 3, these changes in BBI, all these changes, are they good for our country? The changes that are there, the bread has been given, smeared with some blue band and a jam. The jam is things like 35%, but the real thing in BBI is to strengthen the executive so that other branches of government don't work. If we had BBI, proposals going through, the election of 2017 would never have been nullified.
Never.
You know, judges would be sacked the following day. So don't bring in an executive like the one of Yoweri Museveni in Kenya. We don't want that. We are happy the way we quarrel, but we live in a peaceful country. We don't want this. Hii mambo wachana nayo. Gerard,
tulibana usiku asubuhi tusikizana.
Wachana hii maneno, wacha tukosane lakini tunapendana. Lakini usikue kama Museveni anafungia watu kwa nyumba. Alafu ati umempoza na ufungia. When you see the electoral commission talking, it is nonsense in Uganda. We want people to be checked. You know what? These checks and balances you are seeing between about the president, where he appoints people and some of those people are appointed, and we end up, Mahakama says no, it's good for a republic. Even sometimes the quarrel between the deputy president, the disagreement between the deputy president and the president is, when you witness that disagreement, it is good for the republic. When the government officials are at peace with themselves, we citizens are in trouble. We want a government that is accountable. We want noise. We don't want harmony. Life is a struggle. It's a contradiction. We don't bring us to a level that we can just listen to one side of the story and we don't say anything. So my brother, BBI is in turbulence. I wish it well. But the plane could crash.
You can only wish it well.
I wish it well. First of all, you should know. I will vote no. If they bring the referendum, I will vote no.
You wish it well, but you will vote no.
I will vote no, and I have a right to do that. And I have a lot of resources. You know, bring. Next time you bring the proponents of BBI here I'll teach them a few things about politics. I'll teach them.
So, are you daring Paul Mwangi on a one-on-one?
Yes, Paul Mwangi. I know him. He's a decent man. I used to do debate with him at KTN. I know him very well. I've known him for a very long time. But I will ask him just one question. If he's listening, I will ask him. He was part of the team that said they were going to verify, after the BBI won, they were going to verify whether the views that were presented in BBI 1 are the ones which are correct or not. Now, if you ask questions from Bitok, Gerard, and he gives you some opinions, and then you go and verify with Kisiangani, what methodology are you using? They had 7,000 people to verify with who gave opinions. So how can they go to verify with did they verify with the 7,000 they had interviewed?
No.
So that thing has a methodological mess. It's a conundrum. So if you want Paul Mwangi, let him come. We will do the business. I will do it with the decency. I respect him. He's a lawyer. He's a decent man. But what he was participating in was shocking. And the outcome, first of all, I would never do with my brother Adam Solo. I would never participate in an exercise like BBI. You know, this BBI can spoil your reputation. People like Paul Mwangi are very decent guys. Even Adam Solo.
Can spoil your reputation.
It can spoil your reputation because you find yourself saying things which are not true. And we just, fight all facts. And yet, you have been associated with the sense, you are a scholar, and then you are supposed to endorse things which are not true. Methodologically, we have a way of doing research. So I would never participate.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Salama sana, habari ya leo?
Niko salama sana.
Nazungumza na nani?
Nazungumza na Eric Okodo kutoka kaunti ya Busia.
Jambo Okodo.
Salama sana.
Leta habari ya mwaka mpya.
Mimi ningependa mwaka mpya iko salama.
Umesikia mjadala?
No. Naona umetuletea hapo umwami hapo Kisangani mtu wa nyumbani. Huyu hapo sawa kabisa. Hapa Western. Sisi tuliambia hii watu ya kwamba hii mchezo ambao wanajaribu kutuletea mambo ya BBI. Hatutaki kusikia story ya BBI. Kwa sababu wale watu ambao leo huyo wanatuambia kwamba BBI iko mzuri. Ndio walituambia kwamba katiba ya 2010 ni nzuri. Ni nini wameona sasa hizi ubaya kwa hii katiba ambayo tuko nayo tunataka kubadilisha? Hii maneno tunaeleza kuhusu Luya Unity. Huyu Musalia Mudavadi, mbunge mwenye amekufa alikufa Matungu, alikuwa ni mtu ya ANC. Yeye anatuambia kwamba anataka kuwa rais na anataka ANC iweze kupata kiti chake cha Matungu. Yeye alifanya nini hapo Matungu wakati mbunge wake wa ANC alikuwa pale? Nothing. What has Wetangula did in Kabuchai when he had a member of parliament for the Kenya in that seat? It's nothing. So these fellas are just kingpins ambao ni wana ukabila mingi na kujifanya kwamba wanataka kuwa marais. Kwani kura ya president inapigwa Kakamega ama Bungoma peke yake? What has Mudavadi done in a terrible constituency where William Ruto comes from? That's the issue these people have to tell us. Lakini hii stories gani wanatueleza my brother Bitok ni kitu ambacho haiwezekani. Yes.
So watu wa Western wamesema mtagi maneno.
Sisi watu wa Western tumesema wheelbarrow tuko nayo, mboga ni mboga, kazi ni kazi, wapende wasipende.
Mboga ni mboga.
Mboga ni mboga jamani. Kumbe ni kumbe.
Ni ukali tu.
Obuoba ni buoba.
Obuoba ni buoba.
Asante sana ndugu yangu, thank you. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm going good.
Azungumza na nani?
Huyu ni Harrison kutoka Kakamega.
Okay, Harrison, tuambie dadi.
Mimi na kushukuru sana hii maneno yanasemwa na bwana Kisiangani. Kwamba hapa Kakamega vitu kwa ground ni tofauti. Watu watawadanganya na mdomo kwamba Raila Musalia, lakini watu huku wote wanasema hasla.
Aya.
Na kama kuna youth kwa ground kwa hii ndani ya hii Kenya, if there's any youth in this country who still believes in old failed man Raila Odinga, then he is visionary.
Aya.
Sababu this Kenya is moving. Hata kusteka hapo na fail na watu ambao wamesha fail, they are looking for opportunities, wakiingia pale wananyamaza. Sasa hizi hataki kusema nani anafanya ufisadi na still kuna pesa inapotea. Rais alisema kuna 2 billion ambayo inapotea kila siku kwa government. Kila siku, na hii pesa Raila atuambii ni nani anakula. Kumaanisha ni Raila anakula sababu yeye ndiye amenyamaza. Unless we come clear to the youth na atuambie. So Ruto is a true symbol ya youth ndani ya hii country. Na sisi tutampatia kura.
So mtu mwenye amenyamaza ndiye anakula. Harrison.
Hatusemi yeye ndiye anakula, lakini sasa pia tuambie ni nani yeye ndiye ametuweza kutuambia fulani pesa imeenda mahali fulani, nani amekula pesa fulani. Lakini right now is not speaking anything. That the president himself told us last time that 2 billion ama ni uongo.
Alisema 2 billion, hata mimi nilisikia.
Sasa nani anakula vipi? Baba ndiye anatuambianga hii maneno, atoke atuambie hii pesa inaenda wapi. Nani amekula sababu yeye ndiye ametuzoesha. The last time we spoke about the corruption, we don't know it was when. Unaona? The problem we're having in this country is the implementation of the 2010 constitution. Si atukuleta tena vitu vingine unataka kuweka ndani, hapana. Sisi tuko na Ruto na narrative yake ni very new na ina-accommodate watu wote, wa mama nani. Wilbar it does not mean kama mimi kazi yangu si ya Wilbar. Lakini najua hiyo simple inanileta paka na kuwa accommodate kwa hiyo vuguvugu. Let me tell you, Ruto ni bomb na ina assemble italipuka my friend.
Ebu ongea na Prof Gulu, ongea na bro lugha ya nyumbani, mwambieni nini mlifanya.
Unataka Kisiangani? Kwa Waluya wote wewe ndio inafaa ukoe atuoli. Hao wengine wengine
omanyeko so kwenye bujinga tawa. Bantu bakukhola kama kama bisana.
Kabisa.
Ono wheelbarrow hata sezindi na yengo. Wewe unaendelea wheelbarrow.
Na kuna soko hata State House ilijengwa na wheelbarrow. Ndio inachukua mchanga.
Yes.
Yes, so Raila hiyo State House ilijengwa na wheelbarrow.
Yes.
Sasa wheelbarrow kwa nini anaikataa?
Kwani wheelbarrow ukiwa na wheelbarrow wewe ni mbaya?
Bwana hata kwake shamba garden na huwa na move uchafu na wheelbarrow, I move na pick up.
Ati lazima uwe kandarasi. Mimi niko na wheelbarrow 3, mtu wa kutengeneza ng'ombe yangu wako na wheelbarrow na ingine inatumiwa na watu wengine. Sasa wanasema ukiwa na wheelbarrow wewe ni kandarasi. Sasa Raila anaona lazima uwe unajenga manyumba makubwa ya ghorofa ndio uwe na wheelbarrow.
Sisi tunajua ni mchezo ya kuweka tu the name of our deputy president on a dispute, but we don't accept that. Sisi tuko na yeye na the word kitu umesema hapo muhimu, vitu kwa ground ziko tofauti. Watoe sahi Kananu Nairobi, kura yangu ni ya Nairobi in fact, kwa vile tu sasa hivi niko Western. Waitisha uchaguzi hata kama ni kesho ndo tujue. Na kuanzia sasa hivi watajulia Matungu na Kipchai, tuko hapo. Mimi niko Kakamega sasa na ninasikia kwa ground vile vitu zinasemekana.
Sasa nikiangalia watu wa Kakamega, na asante sana kwa kupiga simu na kutusikiza pia.
Asante sana.
Ambia watu kama tunawapenda zaidi, na tutakuja hapo tufanye social mazungumzo ya social, tuweze kujua hii mambo inaenda vipi. Hao yako bwana.
Hapana, nilikwambia kusema ukweli. Kwani nilikuwa nimeongea nao. Ground ni tofauti. Ni noma.
Okay. What are your reactions on that?
My reaction? You see, you have just sampled out some of the comments from the people. Leadership is about knowing what the people think. Even when you pass messages, you must know whether that message makes sense to the people or not. You have seen, you called people, one in Busia, one in Kakamega, and they are telling you, this ground seems to be listening to William Ruto.
All right. Ya tusikiza mwingine hapa. Hello, good morning.
Yes, Bwana Gerard.
Yes, jambo.
Ni Steve Mwema hapa napiga kutoka Mombasa.
Steve Mwema, jambo.
Salimia Bwana Profesa sana.
Asante, nimesalimika.
Hello.
Nimesalimika.
Hello.
Tunakusikia dadi, sema. Tunakusikia Steve. Steve ona hapa ana. Steve hapo anawekeko credit ya kutosha bwana. Acha tena anapeka. Hello Steve.
Yes, jambo Bwana Gerard.
Jambo, sir, good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Salimia Bwana Profesa sana.
Nimesalimika.
I like his energy. Unfortunately kitu moja na sikubaliani naye, ana sound kama Junet Mohamed. Unajua anakuwa sycophant wa Ruto, na Junet anakuwa sycophant wa Raila. So ukiangalia tunakuwa na problem. Hakuna mle anataka kusema ukweli. Junet hataki kuambia watu ukweli, na Profesa hataki kuambia watu ukweli. Kwa sababu sasa anasema ni hustler movement. Na tunajua hao wanasiasa wengi wetu wameiba pesa. Unapata kuna corruption. Hata huyu ndugu wetu anaitwa Bwana William Ruto hapo kwa scandal nyingi za corruption, lakini wataki kusema, lakini wanakuja na narrative ya kusema hustler. Sasa mpaka nashangaa hii, kama mimi as a young person who is working hard, and other young people who are working hard to enrich themselves through the right way. I don't understand this hustler movement. Hustler movement ni uongo, iko na uongo ndani yake. Manake wewe niambia, wewe Gerard, wewe mwenyewe umefungua hii account yako ya Facebook, unafanya genuine business.
Yes.
Umenipata? Haujaibia mtu yote, unafanya ukweli. Wewe ni real hustler. Mtu kama wewe anaweza kuitwa ni real hustler. Lakini wale mapolitician wetu wengine wanatudanganya ati ni hustler. Mtu kama William, mtu kama Mdhama, they are not hustlers. Wache kutudanganya. Kwa hivyo Profesa huwa namfollow sana, lakini pia atuambie ukweli, ache kubehave kama Junet.
Unafikiri amesema uongo gani ndio aweza kurespond to that? Or do you mind picking out?
Anasema the hustler movement ina kila mtu. Kwa mfano anataka tuelezee wakati before William wakosane na president, kulikuwa na scandal ya corruption. Mbona hajazitaja hizo scandals kama za Kimwarer, za Aror Dam, unanipata? Vitu za laptop, kuna pesa zimeibiwa za laptop kutoka kwa ofisi yake. Umenipata? Na huyo jamaa alikuwa anauza laptop, he's a real hustler. Alikuwa anauza pikipiki pale Makindu. Akadanganywa, akaambiwa lete pikipiki supply laptop kwa ofisi ya William Ruto. Na pesa ikapotea hivyo. Unanipata?
Sawa.
Kuna uongo ndani yake. Unapata? Unajua tunataka tuambiane ukweli. Mimi sikubaliani na vipengele fulani za BBI, lakini nataka tuambiane ukweli. Kwa hivyo Profesa ni mtu amesoma, lakini anataka atueleze. Atakuwa fanatic kama Junet Mohamed.
Sawa.
Watu wa Junet unapata tu mtu ni kupiga tu kelele tu. Nataka tuambiane ukweli.
Haya, atakwambia. Asante sana Steve.
Okay, sawa Gerard.
Unasikia mambo hapo Profesa, mambo ya Steve.
Steve anasema ameuliza swali mzuri. Na ametaja mojawapo ya mambo ya ufisadi ikiwa ni criminal na Arwol. If you look at how government operates, part of the information that is being peddled about the deputy president, you know, it has been structured to spoil his name. And if today Ruto said he's not standing for elections as president, all these claims about his corruption scandals will go. The reason why there are corruption scandals against Ruto is because he wants to be president. Now, Kimarel and Arwol, Gerard, you should know how government works. Ask Kimwema or anybody else in this country, how does a government money which is coming from donors end up in the office, in the hands of the deputy president?
Alright. Kuna jamaa ako pale Tennessee, America. I'll keep distracting you. But on my love. Yes, how are you?
Hi Gerard, how are you doing?
Salama sana, am I speaking to?
Huyu ni Ombui.
Ombui, jambo.
Yes, jambo sana, habari yako?
Nashukuru. Sasa hebu ongea na profesa, nione ndio ulikuwa na maneno na profesa kabisa.
Yes, ninafurahia sana ile mjadala mko nayo. Na nimependa vile huyo kijana ametoka ameongea. Unajua kama tunataka Kenya iendelee mbele na tukue pamoja, lazima tuambiane ukweli. Lakini ile kitu ambayo naona profesa anasema is very partisan. If indeed is using its scholarly, intellectual ability, then he should be the one to tell Kenyans the truth.
Okay.
Tunajua historia ya Ruto vile amegrow mpaka mahali amefika. Ni vile sometimes people are scared of saying the truth in public because sometimes people fear the consequences.
Yeah.
So ile kitu ningeambia profesa aambie Wakenya ukweli. Me, I'm not saying I'm supporting BBI. I am not saying I am supporting Raila Odinga. I am not saying I'm supporting Ruto or Uhuru Kenyatta. Ile kitu I support is Kenyans to be told the truth so that they can make informed decisions in 2022.
Okay.
Sio lazima wale wamejitokeza ndio wanafaa kuongelelewa kuhusu. Kuna watu kama kina Mukisa Kitui na wengine which people like professors should be informing Kenya, educating Kenya to help those people names come into public, popularize those names, the people who can competently transform the country like what Kibaki did. But we cannot be singing the same names, the same people who have promised Kenyans goodies, which they have not delivered up to now. Now they are coming up with issues to do with the hustler and the dynasty, when they should be telling us what does the hustler mean. When they are telling us about the hustler, what does it compose? What is it going to deliver to Kenya if they get power in 2022? Why are they opposing the dynasty? They should not be telling us that, when your hustlers should be wapiganiwe so that they can also sit around the table. Ruto has been sitting in the table with the dynasty since he was age 25 up to now. What has he done for Kenya? What has Ruto done for the people in Rift Valley? Since he became the deputy president, Gerard, tell us, what has Ruto done for the people of Rift Valley that he can say, this is a very mega project I've done for you people when I was the deputy president. Now, nipe mguu nikuwe rais wa Kenya ili niweze kuwafanyia mengi zaidi.
Yeah. Swala nyeti, profesa atakujibu. Asante sana Ombui, na mnujue tunaanza kazi next week ya diaspora. Mko tayari?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother. Enjoy your time. Say hi to watu wa Tennessee. Tachukua tu simu moja ama mbili alafu tumalize. Thank you so much Ombui. Prof atakujibu. Tachukua simu moja ama mbili. I'm saying that we had some guys we missed. Some two guys ambao tuliwakosa kwa line. Tachukua tu simu mbili alafu I think that should be the end of the calls. The first person to call in ni mtu ambaye that's the first person we'll talk to. First come first serve. Only one or two calls ambao tunaweza kuchukua. Alafu tukirudi tunapea professor aweze kujibu maswali ambayo yameulizwa. Alafu tunaendelea katika ile kipindi cha lala salama. We only going to pick two calls on bunge la mwananchi. Alafu tutaweza kupea professor aweze kurespond to the questions. Naona Abbas Njuguna anasema guys, according to current status DP's winning 2022 is undisputed. I have only one question: what if elections are rigged? Swala. Edwin Kiprop says Stanley Meli says Ombu seems to be bitter in a way. Max Kimeli, Ombu is too shallow. Mesha Kipto following closely. Wacha tusikie simu nyingi. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Gerald.
Good to hear from you. Am I speaking to?
Dixon from Membo.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Hello. Jamaa nini amepotea? Alright. Aya, utarudi. Now Wilson Kaja I was asking myself, where did Professor Kisiangani go? I got it now. You got a tough message to Kenya. Mainstream media will shy away from me, Professor, but from the Aslas Nation, thank you for standing with the truth. Speak your mind boldly and truthful. Proud of that great brain. Nandogo says I've equally spent many years in school, and true, I agree with my buddy Edward on BBI. Kona Amikas, Amikas, that Julius Manyara, Professor is spot on. Arojiki mesema tuned in from Bungoma, asante sana. Julius Manyara anasema watching from Meru. Asante sana. I think we've closed in the call so that we can finish on time. We have only almost 10 minutes. Lakini kabla tujaenda sana, nataka tuangalie magazeti. Just the headlines very briefly. Haraka taanza na gazeti ya Daily Nation. Inasema Ruto defends Uhuru over Raila attacks. In a fresh twist, the DP who has lately been attacking President Kenyatta aggressively defended the head of state, outlining the Jubilee administration's achievements since taking power in 2013. The then strange deputy was become an outsider in his own government thanks to the March 2018 camaraderie between the president and Mr. Odinga, popularly known as the handshake, praised their performance prior to the reapproachment with the opposition leader. Hey, mapenzi ya handshake. What ODM presidential ticket in 2022 we will have to apply and part with non-refundable shillings 1 million. Ni fundraising. Ni harambe nini? New tax to raise cost of online transactions, goods, services and board over internet taxed. Tutaanza kukula ushuru, hata hii maneno tunaongea hapa, tutaanza kukulishwa ushuru. Naona pia Raila Odinga yuko hapa anasema Mr. 6 months. Mr. 6 months, the youngsters you promised laptops 8 years ago are now old enough to see you through your lies. The youth you promised 8 million jobs in 8 years can see through the wheelbarrow lie you are now peddling. It has been 8 years, Mr. 6 months, and not 3 years. No, Mr. 6 months. Kama kinaanza kuumana. Schools hit by discipline crisis. There's a disturbing wave of violent delinquency spreading across our schools just 2 weeks into the new school term, and precedented cases of violent students' behavior towards teachers, staff and fellow students have been reported. At least 5 students have been tried in court with assault after allegedly attacking and injuring their teachers and schoolmates with knives, machetes and metal bars. In one extreme case, a schoolboy is staring at murder charges after being accused of killing a watchman at their school. People sweated out to answer essay questions in test. Majority of learners in classes 5, 6 and 7 struggled to answer questions correctly in last week's NEC assessments. Motivation. Police officers said for pay rise, dozens of police officers from all ranks across the various units and formations are expected to benefit after completing short courses at the National Police Training in Kiganjo. That is the Nation, that's the Daily Nation. On the headline of the People Daily inasema Uhuru's grand plan to restore Mount Kenya. Park Diary BBI proponents are pulling all stops to market the proposed law changes, with radio talks to sell the project and meeting local leaders to shift opinion. Actually, Raila Odinga today is in Kameme TV, if I'm not wrong. I think he's on Kameme TV, or is it Noro TV? No, Kameme TV, to speak to the people of Central Kenya, probably in a bid to take back the control of Central Kenya that has been seen to be going to William Ruto. All right, as the People Daily headline, survey Kenyans unhappy way of state of economy. Health workers and media are the toast of many citizens. They are saying Kenyans are unhappy on the situation of the economy. Mahali uchumi ipo, Wakenya hawajafurahi. Anasema hapa pia shillings 500 million legal fees that has put law firms on EACC radar. At least 8 MCAs and 25 law firms are being propped over the $500 million fee note. The anti-graft Caesar says will be paid last week, but risks of corruption. All right. It's an interesting time to be alive. The standard, the headline was Raila chances of presidency. Raila chances of presidency na anaanza kuwa na watu wake wanachama ambao wanasema wanasimama. Kuna Oparanya hapo, kuna Kingi, alafu kuna Joe, but Kingi has said he's not going to run on ODM. That is the headlines of the newspapers. Because of time, we'll not delve into the papers. Lakini maanza kusikia headlines iko vipi. Alright, wacha nirudishe kwa Kishangani aweze kuzungumza na watu wake ambao wameuliza maswali, alafu I also make comments on the headlines. Karibu, Professor.
Kwanza, let me just say, what has Ruto done for Kenyans? From the United States, Mbui, I think Ruto can go into details and say what he has done, because he has been a deputy president. He has served Kenyans as a deputy president. I know he has served Kenyans as an MP in Eldoret North, the former Eldoret North. Details of what he has done, it is him to answer. And I wish you can tell him, he will give you those details. But as far as I'm concerned, Ruto, the one single thing that Ruto has done for Kenyans is has provided good leadership. That's the point. And the fact that he has provided good leadership doesn't mean that he cannot do better. So he has provided good leadership. Am I Junet Mohammed? It is a very bad thing to compare me to Junet Mohammed. I've spent 30 years teaching in the university. And I have a lot of students, even in Bunge. I am using science, and all our discussions have been about the scientific assessment of the situation. And you have seen it has been backed by callers. That if we call elections right now, Ruto seems to have worked magic. And I'm not saying I'm justifying anything. I'm just saying that Ruto seems to know what the people want. And he has done it, and that's why people are supporting him with the Hustler movement. So if he's doing that, well and good. Politics is about interests. And he knows where his interests lie. I've not declared I will be the first one to criticize Ruto. I can call him and tell him off. Because he's a national leader and therefore he's subject to scrutiny. But I'm not just coming to say useless things. I'm saying things that I can prove. So I think my sycophants should be pegged on a specific point that I made, that the caller thinks really was sycophants, but it was not backed by facts. It was about emotion. Then I would tackle that directly. But a generalization won't be fair to me. Then the question is about Ruto's claims about corruption. I mean, the claims against Ruto with regard to corruption. The deputy public, I refer the caller to this interview that was Gerard filed by Annie Giguta last year with the director of public prosecutions on Citizen T on K24 over a role under Kimwaril. And that's why I asked, how does money which is coming from a donor end up in the hands of the deputy president? It can't even end up in the hands of the president. The truth is, our deputy public prosecutor, our director of public prosecutions, Nuruddin Haji, was very clear. The deputy president had nothing. And he emphasized, Gerard, nothing to do with Kimwaril and Arol. It is politics.
That is a prosecutor.
Yes, so the director of public prosecution said nothing. Because that was a government project, those were government loans. And when money comes in as loans, it is kept in treasury in hard currency. And then there is a bill of landing, the survey of the area, the parent ministry is given a chance to quantify all the things that are supposed to be attended to, and everything that you accomplish, every item you accomplish, a voucher is raised for you to be paid. And that one means that it is treasury which releases money against a voucher and against an inspected job which has been done. So how that money was diverted to the deputy president and the treasury secretary is permanently under the supervision of the president, it defeats logic. So because people don't have knowledge of how government works, when you go to the streets and shout that Ruto has stolen donor money, it is a very attractive thing to say. But when they ask you how did this happen, because of your ignorance of how treasury works, how government works, you think that people will believe that. And that is the reason why I told my viewers, I've spent a lot of time in school, and I know how procedure goes in government. And so, unless people can come up with tangible evidence to say how Ruto took this money away from government and it ended in his pockets, I think it is a hoax, it is hearsay. Even the other day you heard about the helicopter issue in his office. ESCC has cleared him. So, the idea to force an erection charge against a person and you don't prove it is also not very fair to him. So come out with a tangible thing. All these have been claims. Let me ask the viewers before Gerard. I think you give me a minute on this. How come you can make false allegations about people and unsubstantiated allegations about people like Ruto, and you are not able to ask how did, for example, the molasses plant in Kisumu transfer from government to private hands? What was the deal? Do all Kenyans know what happened with the maize scandal in the former prime minister's office with some of his officials? What was the role? What happened? So corruption begins and ends with Ruto, and that's the problem in this country. We are not supposed to talk about Goldenberg. We are not supposed to ask anything about Triton. Corruption begins in 2017 when Ruto seems not to be doing very well in Jubilee from 2018. So once you start prosecuting corruption against that, other people are forgiven. So you have to force it. Let us get evidence about what Ruto has done. And as a scholar, I will honor up and say, yes, these facts make sense. But if you're going to do media, and the mainstream media has been hostile to the deputy president, as you know, then there is no objective way of assessing him. Let us get facts. And once you present the facts, I think, Gerard, call the guy in Mombasa called Mwema, bring him on this show, let him present us with evidence which he has about Ruto's corruption scandals, and then I will honor about the first one to acknowledge. Then the question of how Raila attacks Jubilee, how does Raila attack Jubilee? I've just seen some media things you are reading. How does Raila attack Jubilee? The same government which has been giving him comfort and massaging his egos without attacking Uhuru. So again, you need to be a fool not to see that if he attacks Uhuru's Jubilee's track record in terms of development, he's also attacking Uhuru. And I think Uhuru is smart enough to know that. The president knows that Raila has started attacking him. He has chosen.
He knows he's going back to the bush, guerrilla war.
Yes, the president knows that. And so, and you know what? Raila should also know that the president, having been elected to lead, has to be flexible in his decisions because he has voters to please. The president can't please Raila and forget about voters. The president is not a president because of Raila. He's the president because of voters. So we voters matter more than Raila. So when he attacks the Jubilee track record, he's attacking the president. So it's up to Kenyatta to know what to do about it. I'm sure he knows what to do about it. But for Raila, I think this is the job he should have done from long time ago. But you know, after you go in and start eating, you come out satisfied, then you start abusing the people who cooked for you. It's also bad African manners. In Africa, we don't do this kind of thing. And then in ODM, you have talked about the media, and Gerard, you are mentioning things like Kingi or Paranya. First of all, the money for presidential, for those who want to vie for presidency under ODM is elitist. There are very few people who can raise that money, even those working in government. You could have leadership qualities, but be locked out of that. So it's an aristocratic, I think it is an oligarchical. It's not even aristocratic. It's an oligarchy. Yeah, it's an oligarchical figure. It's for the rich. Only rich people can go there and raise 100. And then secondly, the issue of Kingi or Paranya raising, it is difficult to imagine that anybody can vie for presidency in the ODM. You see, these fellows if they decide that they are vying, I suspect they will first seek permission from Raila Odinga to be allowed to vie in a mock contest, and then pay 1 million, and the money will be returned. So it is for optics purposes. They are not going to vie. They can't take on Raila. The presidential candidate for ODM is going to be Raila.
They've said for you to submit your application, you must submit it with 1 million Kenyan shillings. Ukipeana application, unapeana na milioni ngapi?
Moja.
Yes.
So that's the point. I'm saying they will give 1 million, but it will be returned. And even those who want to buy,
it is non-refundable. So maybe in
no, they will refund the money because it is a mock is a mock setup to tell people that actually it's a democratic thing.
It's a sweepstake.
Ni wako. In our language, niyo ni wako. It's not true. So they will set up this drama. They are setting up a play and make sure that they appear like they are seriously buying, but they are not buying. They pay the money, but the money will be refunded so that they lose to Raila. The whole thing is they have to lose to Raila. So there will be no contest. Yeah. So the presidential candidate is Raila Odinga, and I think.
But before you get there, you must be busy.
They have to look like they are doing something democratic.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I think we are 6 minutes past. I want to give you an opportunity to speak to all these triggers. We'll start with Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the president. We go to the deputy president, Raila Odinga. Mudavadi, who else is saying he's running for president? All these other guys. How do you speak to them? I'll start with Uhuru Kenyatta. What is your message to Uhuru Kenyatta?
I think for our president, Uhuru Kenyatta, my message to you is that Kenya has challenges. You are the chief executive. Always be informed by the greater good. When you take decisions about our country, you have done well, but you can do better. Listen to everybody. The resistance against BBI is because some people feel it was not only inclusive, the method of gathering views was not inclusive, and it is because it looked like it was controlled by yourself and also controlled by your friend and brother, Raila Odinga. Other people were locked out. The idea of the Constitution, Mr. President, is a very serious matter. Right now, you are planning to retire in about 18 months. How do you see Kenya under a president who controls parliament, controls the judiciary, but the judiciary and parliament have no control over the president? That is my question to you, and it is because of that most of us really fear the BBI. It is something that can destroy our country. Lastly, Mr. President, as we go to this purported referendum, if it ever takes place, 35% under our current economy is not possible. Even in the next 10 years, this economy has not shown enough muscle to raise 35% for the counties. So to say that BBI will bring 35% without a consummate plan to reform our economy is also not true. I request you to abandon the BBI project, to secure your legacy and work hard to make sure that we have peaceful elections. We have a beautiful, beautiful constitution through which we can conduct elections. Our republic is broke. It needs money. The economy needs to reform. Let us keep our attention on that and forget about BBI. Mr. President, I do that with a lot of respect.
Raila Odinga?
Raila Odinga, you have been a leader for a very long time. And as a leader, you have seen many challenges. Mr. Odinga, you have suffered, and that is not in question. But people believed in you. But that is until you entered a handshake. When you entered the handshake, it revealed the other side of you that people didn't know. People thought you are a Democrat. But when you come to support a BBI project that enhances power for the executive and undermines parliament and the judiciary, you have told the people of Kenya that you don't believe in democracy, you don't believe in the principle of separation of powers, you don't believe in a balance of power among government institutions. So your legacy is completely damaged. You need to do something very fast, very, very fast. First, to reclaim your legacy and to reclaim the space that you used to have. Many of your supporters have moved on. Unfortunately for you, Bwana Raila Odinga, your supporters have moved on to Ruto. I know Ruto was one of your lieutenants, a good student of your politics, but he has run away with your territory. What are you going to do about it? I suggest this. The only person who can help you recover your legacy is William Ruto. Join him and make the dream big. But when you join him, you should not join him as a competitor, but as an advisor who can make him a better president. Because, as you can see, he controls a huge number of voters in Western, a huge number of voters in Central, Mount Kenya, Rift Valley, Nairobi, and the coast, and even Northeastern. And probably Ruto is going to be our president. So you had better start talking to him, enrich his presidency, advise him well, make sure he helps you to get back your dream. Because the hustlers that he's dealing with, he's talking about, the dream of the hustlers seems to resonate much more with the Raila of yesterday than the Raila of today. I hope you don't take it personally, Bwana Odinga.
William Ruto.
The biggest problem that you will face today is how to manage the many people who admire you and want to work with you. I'm sure 3 years ago you didn't know that you would be in this kind of state. But this is what God hides from us. You have a duty to keep the dream of uniting the entire republic. Many people think you can be our president. They are supporting you without anything. They are working for you without anything. But I'm sure you are also surprised by this massive support. Maybe God came through you and gave you the message to talk to the people, to pass to the people. And that message seems to be sitting very well with the republic. You have to accept what is happening with humility. Accommodate everyone. If Raila Odinga comes to you, accommodate him. If any other leader who has been abusing you comes to you, accommodate him. Because leaders become useless when they are popular. They become arrogant. I'm sure you know that. So, as we go to 2022, you have made your point about BBI. You are likely to be supported by very many people on your presentations. I think God has heard, but the Republic has also heard. And by your representations, your actions, your weekend meet the people tours, your church connections, people know that William Ruto is probably going to be our president and we should give him a chance. So when they give you a chance, you must have a plan for Kenya. Kenya that accommodates everybody. A lot of people now are distorting your message on hustling. You must come out and tell the people that the wheelbarrow is just a symbol of work. You are not setting up classes to fight other classes. You are setting up a reasonable platform for us to give a chance to all. Those who are from the humble background to make it to the top, to be billionaires. So therefore, as you celebrate the lower cadres of the people who are working hard to rise to the top, like yourself, you must also celebrate the many rich people in this country who have just worked hard and honestly to rise to the top. But those who sit pretty and hope they are entitled to everything, power and resources without working hard, you make it clear to your supporters you have no time for them. I wish you well, Bwana William Ruto, because I think you are likely to be our president and a good president too. Remember my words. Keep praying.
All right. So, Sarah, what do you think will be the president's legacy, by the way, as he goes on?
The president's legacy?
Yes.
Kenyatta?
Yes, Uhuru Kenyatta.
Largely he has kept our country peaceful.
Because of handshake.
Partly because of handshake. And handshake did well. He has kept our country peaceful. We have not been at war in a way that it disrupts our social life. And generally, he has been tolerant. A lot of us have said certain things that in other countries can't be said against him. But the fact that he has tolerated us is a good legacy. Generally, he has been a tolerant president and kept our country busy, and he has been tolerant. So I think what I would tell President Kenyatta is that as we go to the 2020 and we go to the wee hours of his leadership, he must continue with that tolerance.
Right.
The temptation to tell him to become rogue, he should not listen to Atwoli, because those are the people telling him to be a dictator. Let him continue with his tolerance. It is the greatest thing that he will leave behind.
Can reward us.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us for today's tackle, being a Monday of 25th January 2021. For the tacklers who have been with us for 2 hours, 20 minutes now, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning us. It's always a pleasure to have you. Like I say, always, the views expressed on the tackle belongs to the panelists. So don't come here telling me, oh, the tackle it belongs to you. Can come also and say your things and go home. Everybody comes here, they say what they believe in, you speak your truth, and you go home. So all the views and expressions that are found here belongs to the viewers. We don't take credit or we don't take ownership of expressions or actually opinions given on the tackle. So we really appreciate. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you're going to have a great week ahead. May God bless you, and we'll see you again tomorrow on another session of the tackle. We love you. This is the tackle, and the tackle ends now. Take care and bye bye. We wish that God be good with you as you go out to hustle. Tunashukuru sana. Mungu aweze kuwapea bundles ya kuweza kuona tackle kesho. Asante sana. Bye bye, and we love you. Take care.